Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining here at Unapologetically Progressive. Now today we're going to talk about something I don't normally talk about, and that's religion, only because there's a historic first tied to this story. For the first time in the history of the Catholic Church, they have selected a pope from the United States of America. He's now Pope Leo the 14th. His name is Robert Francis Provost. He was a cardinal, of course, and now he is the Pope, the first ever Pope from the United States of America. Now, there's a lot of talk about why they haven't selected one in the past. A lot of what I've heard thrown around over the last few hours was that they didn't believe that America needed more power because the United States is already a powerful nation, one of the strongest nations in the country, and they didn't really think that they needed the power of the papacy, right? And so that was one reason that I've heard recently, right, over the last few hours, since they've been picking a new pope over the last, I think, 2 days. I've heard this, story come up a few times. But that's the news. The news is that we have Pope Leo the 14th, who of course takes over after Pope Francis. He was a big supporter of Pope Francis. Now, he's very open. He's a lot more socially liberal than other popes have been, but he's not nearly as socially liberal, especially when it comes to LGBTQ causes, as Pope Francis was, even though Pope Francis wasn't as open as some people would have liked him to have been. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with this guy, right? He's made it clear, though, in the past that he believes the church should be available to everyone. Regardless of who you are, you should be able to go to the Catholic Church and be, and be free to worship, if that is what you choose to do. Now, I don't know a lot about the guy. I know he did a lot of missionary work in Peru. I know that he was a cardinal that supported Pope Francis and was, I believe, named like head of the archdiocese down there in Peru over one of the, according to what I've read, one of the poorest areas, one of the poorest dioceses in the entire world of the Catholic Church. He's also apparently considered to be good with money, and I think that's something that they were looking at as well. Now, like I said, I'm not Catholic. I don't know all the ins and outs of all this stuff. I don't know why they choose the names they do. But I do know that Leo the 13th, who took the papacy back in 1878 until his death in 1903, was known as somebody that was, kind of socially liberal himself and all about reforms up to a certain point, and then he seemed to get a little, what's the word for it? A little more conservative over towards the end of his life as Pope. Now, I guess we will see, but I know there are a lot of people at the Vatican today extremely happy. People all over, probably thousands of people there waiting to see the new Pope. And if you're Catholic, I'm guessing this is a good day for you. But I hope this guy is able to do some good, because he did do a lot of talking about, charity, peace, and protecting marginalized groups. He did talk about that in his speech today, and has talked about it at length in previous interviews in the years past. In 2023 is when he stated that he thought that everybody should be free to come to church. That church is for everyone. Now, the problem is these ideas don't always translate well to other Catholic churches. I know a lot of Catholic churches got really mad with Pope Francis because he was more supportive of the LGBTQ community and was warming to the idea of putting women in leadership roles at the church, which I don't think ever happened. But this guy is going to be a staunch no on that, from what I've read. He's not going to be a supporter of the LGBTQ community as we want, as I mentioned before. He seems to be okay with us being there, just not okay with us being a part of the church as, out, I guess. So we'll see. But I think the most amazing thing here is that we, for the first time ever, see a pope from the United States of America. I think that's absolutely amazing. I never thought I would see that in my lifetime. I didn't think that was something that could happen. Now, like I said, I am not Catholic. I am not religious. But I do like, I do at times spend time watching Easter Mass and things like that, just because I like the, I guess you call it the pomp and circumstance of it all. It just, I don't know. But anyhow, your ideas on the new pope, let me know down the comments below. And I hope you're doing okay. Hope you are having a great day, and I'll see you down the road.